Hey guys, Azor coming at you today in Watcher of Realms. Welcome to the video. Today we're going to talk about the worst of the worst heroes in the game, specifically legendary heroes. I am going to try, or I have already tried, to rank the top 5 legendary heroes in this game that are in need of a buff. But I've been doing this YouTube game a long time, ladies and gentlemen, and I know that inevitably there will be some card-carrying members of these heroes' fan clubs watching this very video right now, so let me have it in the comments below.
Can I talk to you for a second?
If you disagree with these legendaries being at the bottom of my personal rankings. But be careful before you comment, because the reason I'm pointing out these heroes isn't to just, to throw them under the bus, is to compel Moonton to potentially give them a nice buff.
Great story. Compelling and rich.
Keep in mind, the worst legendaries are the most likely to get a buff in this game. Furthermore, have any of you guys, I mentioned this on my Dwarven Association guide, but have any of you guys sacrificed a legendary before? I can't see myself ever sacrificing a legendary in this game, despite how good the shop items are, or the awakening items are, just because, well, to my point, right? I mean, they're gonna buff them, and then you're gonna be super upset that you actually sacrificed them. So I don't know about you all, but I am holding off on ever doing that. I'll let you know if I ever change my mind. Anyway, coming in at number 5, and number 5 on this list is a good thing, right? Because number 1 is going to be the worst legendary in the game. So number 5, guys, is going to be one who I know there's actually varying opinions on, but it's Azor. So Azor is a defensive-based defender in the game. He has a cost of 18, obviously a standard block of 3 as well. As I mentioned, defense-based allows his damage to also scale off of his defense, which is really, really nice. So the upside of this Nightmare Defender in Azor, and I own this, I'll make sure that I mention, I own most of these, unfortunately, these heroes in today's video. But the thing about Azor is he does have pretty nice damage. He can also inflict stuns, so he does have some control. Now it says control and shield. So a little bit of damage when he's in a heated state. He has this state of heat. When he's in heat, he gets a little excited, a little frisky, and he deals a little bit more damage. The problem is that damage is not enough to justify, in my opinion, using him over most decent fighters in the game. They still put out more damage, okay? So you take that away. And then in terms of his tankage, he doesn't have a great mechanic to keep him alive. His kit just doesn't make the most sense. It feels like they want him to be kind of a Torador-esque, an Abomination-esque defender who can deal fighter damage, but it's just not there. And he doesn't have that mechanism, as I said, to keep himself alive. His shield is actually on an ally, not himself, right? I mean, give me a shield at least on Azor. So it says when tempering strike is active, that's his ultimate, obviously. Every strike will apply a buff to a random ally within 3 tiles based on the current status of the hammer. The normal state applies a shield equal to 100% of the hero's defense for 10 seconds. So it scales off his defense, which is a good thing. But again, I mean, it's a random ally within 3 tiles, right? So it's really hard to get any value out of that shield that he does bring in his kit, and he has nothing to keep himself alive as a defender, right? So that's my problem, is like there's a lot of promising little elements, I want to say, in this dude, but when you put it all together, I'm just not picking up what they're putting down on Azor. I am not a big fan. Let's see what the reviews say here. They give him a 4.3 in Tide. He might have the highest reviews out of any hero that we talk about in today's video. So you guys let me know how you feel about Azor. Let's move on to number 4 on our list, and it's actually going to be none other than Shamir. So Shamir, let's see what his reviews say first here. His reviews, he's got a 4 in Tide and everything else is sub 4. Here's the deal on this guy. What is he all about? He has drowning water, which affects the movement speed. His whole kit synergizes around this drowning water, a 25% reduction in movement speed. It's not, as good as the 50% reduction in movement speed, but the cool thing about drowning water is it can stack, right? The drowning water is stackable. It increases the damage that targets take from the caster's basic attack and ultimate by 10% up to 3 stacks, okay? So sure, he's got that going for him, but at the end of the day, when we talk about Shamir, he has no talent, he's a 19 cost, right? He's not doing anything super special. His damage is not S tier, it's not even A tier, it's average for a mage, right? And then he's got the slow, it's all about the control. Okay, the problem is a little, epic hero that you may have heard of that everybody gets for free anyway in this game on day 3, and it's Mari. Oriona, right? Another epic. She's not a freebie, even though she has an event right now, you can fuse her. But I mean, these are 2 epics who arguably do a lot better with control and debuffs. They're bringing a little bit more to the table than Shamir does as a legendary hero. So it's not that his kit is trash, is that his damage isn't, doesn't justify upgrading him, in my opinion, over some very competent epics who bring that control a bit better than him. And damage, again, it's not going to be worth, in terms, in my opinion, the upgrade to invest in him. So next up is going to be another mage on our list. This one I do not have, and it's Derza. So Derza comes in at number 3 on our list today. His reviews are really bad in the game. You don't see that many legendaries grading out like this. Granted, I want to be fair here. I never put too much stock in inventory on in-game reviews. Furthermore, I never put too much stock in inventory on what some random talking head on YouTube says. Let's keep that between us, though. Let the other viewers know about that. Derza. So what's the deal with this dude? He's a chaotic cultist. I remember when I first looked at his kit, I was actually like, I don't know, I was like, wow, he might have some real potential to him, right? Here's the problem, right? So his basic attack applies slow, his talent gains attack speed, increase when attacking enemies inflicted with slow. So again, slow, he has the movement speed by 50% for 2 seconds. It's weird, I'm still getting used to the debuffs in this game. They last sometimes for different durations. The effect can be stronger or weaker, just depending, kind of randomly it feels, haphazardly almost, between heroes in the game. Anyway, he's a single target on his basic attack. He does have that slow again, but it all comes together here with his ultimate, right? Sanguine Right. So here's the issue with this dude, right? We are getting a attack speed bonus for allies in range, okay? And you can see his range is not bad, right? So we're getting an attack speed increase of 50 and deducts 20% of their current HP every 2.1 seconds. It deducts an initial 50% of the current HP of allies in range. So we are really hurting our team big time when Derza is in there. Now, he does have, when there are any ally in range that receive damage, there's a 20% chance to deal AoE damage to nearby enemies and debuffing them 20%, which isn't too bad. On his second passive, if an ally's HP drops below 50%, during the HP reduction of Sanguine Right, they will gain damage increase by 30%. So listen, if you can pull the perfect combination together with Derza, I hear that you can have some pretty nice results. He's also nice and cheap at a 14 cost, so he has some things going for him, right? The bummer is, though, man, it's a lot easier said than done to time everything accordingly and make sure that you're healing your team up. Otherwise, he is a kamikaze Derza. He's coming in there and killing everybody on your team. The reviews on Derza, what do they say? Oh, we already looked at them. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of downside, a lot of HP reduction on everybody. While you're already taking damage from everybody else, you're going to need some really good heals to make up for that. And what are you getting? Maybe some damage increase, maybe some debuffs, and a little bit of attack speed. Not sure that it's worth it. If, now I want to talk about buffs too, right? Shamir, I would just buff up his DPS. Azor, oof, I would make that shield on him too. He gets the shield and the ally gets the shield, right? And on Derza, for me, you know what? Even if we keep everything the same, what I think I would like, and I don't think it would break him, honestly, is I think that it should be every ally on the battlefield gets the bonus of the attack speed, at least, on his ultimate. I'm not sure if they all have to sacrifice their HP though. I mean, I guess the easier way would be is just maybe deducts, I don't know, 25% of current HP, and then still gets the deduction over time. I mean, that's a lot. Anyway, I've made my point there. That's Derza. Coming in at number 2, the second worst is going to be a healer, and it's not going to be Ezreal. You guys know how much I love Ezreal. It's actually going to be Dami. So Dami is a chaotic esotericist. He is an arena mastery, wide heal, and continuous healing. Man, that makes him sound really dang good. The problem is he doesn't have great heals. He does have magic incense, and on his talent, a chance equal to 50% crit rate to last twice the duration. Okay, and if the bear's HP is higher than 50%, dispels 1 debuff for every 2 seconds. So magic incense says it all about this guy. What are we getting from Dami? And I don't have Dami. However, I've talked to enough of his owners, and so I feel like I actually have a very good feel on what he's doing, right? He's coming in with some continuous heal, as you can see on his abilities here, a wide heal, not as wide as my man Vortex, you know, but he has some healing. Nothing too crazy though, right? Not an OP healer. You're probably gonna have to have a better healer alongside him for most battles, most situations, depending on how you position him. He's not going to heal a tank, I guess is the better way to put it, right? But what are you getting from this dude? You're getting debuffs. You're getting cleanses, essentially. And what's the issue with the game right now? There's not that many areas where it's essential to have a cleanser coming in with a powerful magic incense dispelling debuffs every 2 seconds. We're just not getting that many debuffs in this game, right? So you tell me, guys, what's an area of this game that you go into that you think to yourself, oh yeah, gonna need a lot of debuffers in this battle? Because for me, it's really none. It sometimes is a nice to have, but I don't feel like it's imperative. So even though he's number 2 on the worst legendaries in the game on my list here, I do think that he's one of those legendaries that I would definitely hold on to. I would hold on to everybody, as I already said, because who knows, in the future, it might be critical, it might be crucial to have success, to have a good cleanser, dispeller, whatever you want to call him, on your team. All right, guys, the number 1, I am a unproud owner of the number 1 worst legendary in the game. He's a marksman. We've stayed away from marksman up until now, and it's Crash. Oh, man. I remember when I first pulled Crash, and I was like, okay, this guy looks pretty cool. He's got the, what is this? I don't even know what it is. A cannon, literally, on an arm. He has a talent that ignores 15% of enemies' defense just permanently. That's really good, right? So I actually was a little excited about this dude, but he's got a couple problems, a couple big ones. Number 1 is that cost. Okay, 24 cost. It doesn't immediately exclude us from using him at a 24 cost. It's just expensive. So if you're gonna come in with a 24 cost, you better be doing something really, really awesome, right? AKA a ton of damage for a marksman, or have some like really insane synergies in the kit, great abilities, whatever it may be, right? At the very least, hopefully a really big range would be really cool. I'm looking at like Ajaxes and Cetrums, heroes like that, right? They're expensive, but they have beautiful ranges. You can play them in the mid or the late game in a lot of situations, you know, and the cost will definitely be justified. Heck, sometimes you can play them in the early game. The problem with good old Crash here is he doesn't have that great range. Moreover, he doesn't have incredible damage, right? He doesn't have the damage to justify a 24 cost. The sad thing is, the sad state of affairs with Crash is with what he's bringing to the table, AKA
nothing,
a very limited range and very limited damage, again, predicated on his limited range, right? It makes him just no way. No, he's not worth it. Nowhere near. I think if this dude was a 14 cost, literally almost chopping it in half, hell, let's just chop it in half, a 12 cost on this dude, then he'd be pretty viable, I think. And that's pretty bad when you have to cut the cost in half. The easy way to butt this dude would be, if they're not gonna just flat out reduce the cost or just ramp up his damage, which they could do, I feel like that range, right? This dude looks to me like he should be like a Setrum type guy, you know? He's got the mechanical, I mean, this rocket, this cannon of an arm, it doesn't even fire, man. Like, let him launch that volley to the other side of the battlefield. Give him an Idril-like aspect to his ultimate where he can attack everywhere or something like that, right? So for me, for him, it's all about range, right? He's got damage. He's got, it even says here, he's got a wide range, a powerful thermal weapon. The range is not that wide. I guess that it goes out one tile next to him. Wow, yay, exciting. The thing is, a lot of potential again on all these heroes, right? But I would love to see a buff to Crash. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there would agree with me on that one. He actually has some, I say they're decent, but you know, they're okay. Gold Raid, Faction Trial, Tide. I mean, to me, these are kind of like chalk areas where most heroes can help you out in the game. Anyway, guys, we'll end the video there. Those are my picks for the 5 worst legendary heroes in the game. Who would you say I'm wrong on, and who would be on your list instead of the hero that you think I'm wrong on? Who do you think I reverse snubbed by not putting on this list that really deserves a buff? Would love to hear from you guys in the comments. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.